welcome to Algebra 1/2. We are on lesson 21, talking about averaging, okay? Averaging should be somewhat familiar to you guys. That's the promedio, When you are averaging, it's very, very simple. There are two steps. Add, divide. Add, divide. That's it, not a mess. So, let's look at some examples. Let's say I want to average the numbers 1, 2, 4, and 5. I'm going to first add up my numbers. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. Now what do I divide by? I divide by the amount I have. So the number of numbers I'm adding together. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers that I'm adding together. So that's the number that I divide by, 4. So let's add them up. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, plus 5 is 12. Divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my average of 1, 2, 4, and 5 is 3. Now a little clue to help you, your average can never be greater than your greatest number. My greatest number in this one is 5. Is 3 bigger than 5? No, it's not. So your average will never be bigger than your biggest number. If your average is, let's say you had ended up with an average of 6, then uh-oh, red flag, something's gone wrong. So you have to go back and figure out where your mistake is. It's going to be smaller than your biggest number. It might be close to your biggest number, but it will always be smaller than your biggest number. Okay, so let's practice a little bit. Let's say I want to average 1,765, 93, 742, and 21,050. What's your biggest number? The 21,050, right? So we know that our average has to be smaller than that. Well, we start by adding everything up. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 0 is still 10. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 9 is 16, plus 4 is 20, plus 5 is 25. 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 7 is 16. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Carry nothing, so we bring down our 2. 23,650. That's what we got as our answer. So I'm going to take 23,650 and I'm going to divide it by, well, I added 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers together. So I will divide it by 4. What answer do you get when you divide it by 4? Your answer is going to be 5,912.5. The reason for that is that 4 does not go evenly into 23,650. You are going to have a remainder. Well, now that you're in Algebra 1/2, you can no longer just write remainder like this. R and then your remainder. You have to actually keep dividing. So we keep dividing and that gives us 0.5. Let me show you over here, 23,650. Okay, so 4 goes into 23, 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, 20 minus 3 is 3, so 3 is left over. 3 goes into 36, 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36, so there's nothing left over. 4 goes into 5, 1 time. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1, so you have 1 left over. 4 goes into 10, 2 times, but not evenly. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2, so I have 20. 4 into 20, 5 times, so that gives me 5,912.5. If you're a little confused about how I did this, let me know, but that's how you come up with your decimal answer. So if you have a remainder, you can't just write your remainder, you have to keep dividing until it does end. If it doesn't end at a certain point, you can stop dividing and round, okay? And normally your problems will tell you when to stop dividing and when to round, but otherwise you keep dividing, okay? All right, Now, an interesting thing to note is that if we know the average of a group of numbers, we know the sum. Let me say that again. If we know the average of a group of numbers, we know the sum. Let's look at this. I know that I have 4 numbers that I am adding together, and that their average is 3. So knowing that I have 4 numbers with an average of 3, I know what all 4 of those numbers added together equals, because I divided my sum by 4 to get 3. So I do the opposite to get the sum. I multiply my average times the number I divided by, and I get the sum. 4 times 3 is 12. It's always what you do. So let's look at this one together, okay? I know that there are 4 numbers. Averaged, they equal 5,912.5. So I know I can find my sum. Yes, I know, I already have it over there, but I'm just proving my point. I find my sum by multiplying 5,912.5 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 1, 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 times 9, 36. 4 times 5, 20, plus 3, 23. I have 1 decimal place, so I bring it over 1 spot here. So I have 23,650. So notice, this is the sum that I already knew that I had. So that's how you find the sum. If you have the average and you know the number of numbers you added together, you multiply them, and that gives you the sum of the numbers you're adding together. Why is that important? Well, you'll find out in just a minute. Okay, let's look at this. If I want to average 8, 17, 14, 10, 18, 6, 13, 12, I need to add them all together, right? So 8 plus 17 plus 14 plus 10 plus 18 plus 6 plus 13 plus 12. And then divide that sum by the number of numbers I'm adding together. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers that I'm adding together. So when I add those together, I get 98. Oops. Divided by 8. When I divide 8 into 98, 8 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down my 8. 8 goes into 18. How many times? 2. 2 times 8 is 16. 18 minus 16 is 2. I'm not done, so I'm going to keep going. Annex a 0 with a decimal point. Don't forget your decimal point up top. Bring down this 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 we know is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Still not done, so I'll annex another 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 40 minus 40 is 0. So now I'm done. So 98 divided by 8 is 12.25. That's your average. Okay. Now let's see why we need to know the sum from the average and the number of numbers. Let's say I know that I have an average of 4 numbers, and that average is 10. I know 3 of my 4 numbers. I want to know what is the 4th number. This is how I figured that out. I know that the average of the 4 numbers is 10. What's the sum of the 4 numbers? Well, the sum of the 4 numbers would be 4 times 10, right? So the sum of the 4 numbers is 40. That's my sum. Here's 3 of the 4 numbers. I'm going to add them together. 2 plus 14 plus 17. 2 plus 14 is 16. 16 plus 17 is 33. numbers, this is the sum of 3 of my numbers. If I take my whole sum, 40, subtract the 3 numbers, then what's left over is the missing 4th number. 40 minus 33 is 7, so that means the missing number is 7. That's how you solve this type of problem, okay? You have one of those in your practice, so go ahead and pause and do that now. Okay, you should be back from doing your practice now. Letter A, to solve that, it said that you needed to find the average of 74.2, 87.3, and 106.5. So you needed to add them all up and divide them by 3 because you had 3 numbers you were adding together. Add it up, you got 268, divide that by 3. You get 89.3 repeating because that 3 continues on into infinity, so you don't have to keep dividing it. You just put the 3 with the line over top. Just in case you can't see that very well, there should be a line right over that 3. Okay, now for letter B. You have 100.1 is your average of 4 items. They give you, or is the average of 4 numbers, excuse me, they give you 3 of those 4 numbers. 24.2, 13.5, and 48.7. So I need to find the sum of my 4 numbers, so that's 100.1 times 4, since there's 4 numbers. You get 400.4. I add up my 3 numbers that I do know to get 86.4. I subtract the total of the 3 from the total of the 4 to get the missing number. 400.4 minus 86.4 is 314.0, or 314. Then the last one, letter C, is done just like letter A. The first 4 items cost $5.21, $7.42, $8.64, and $9.23. You add them up, divide by 4, and your answer should have been $7.63. Let me know if you have any questions about how to continue averaging, and I'm here for anything that you guys need. Love you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.